Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Desktop Ball, the only show where I sit at my desktop and talk ball. Today is Friday, January 3rd. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to a new year of Desktop Ball. It is going to be a fantastic year. Whether we continue through football season, well, we'll definitely continue through football season. Post football season, I'll likely take a break, invest in the show, prepare myself. There will be some episodes over the summer. I've got some exciting plans talking X's and O's. I'm going to call those episodes Ball School. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, get people involved, whatever you got to do. Some show notes. Let's call out some things for the show. First of all, I just bought a microphone. You may be looking at, my headset with this, little microphone and say, well, no wonder he sounds like shit. Well, yeah, I don't sound very good. I bought this headset on recommendation of one of my buddies just as a video gaming headset. Didn't expect to be, doing a show, doing all this stuff. So we've got a proper mic coming in. It's on its way and it's going to be sick. Also, this is the first episode of Desktop Ball that has a proper thumbnail. I have not made the thumbnail yet. I am recording right now and I am going to make the thumbnail. It's Thursday night, or is it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday night when I'm recording this. I just finished watching this Notre Dame Georgia game at the Sugar Bowl. It was electric. It was a great game. So we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all of it. Super long intro. So my apologies for the long intro, but today is going to be the best episode of Desktop Ball yet. I have decided to invest in the show, invest in myself. Is that one of my New Year's resolutions? No. Should I have added it to my list of resolutions? Yeah, probably. I probably should have. But if you would like the video, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of my extremely good thumbnail. It's going to be incredible. I just know it. Share it with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And yeah, it's going to be a great episode of Desktop Ball. Without further ado, let's kick it off. Do you guys want to go in chronological or reverse chronological order? I want to go in chronological order. So let's do that. We've got Penn State, Boise State at the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. Penn State 31, Boise State 14. So my first thought when I turned the TV on to watch this game was, man, I miss games being hosted at campuses. The atmosphere, right? College football is a game of atmospheres. You turn it on, and whether it's the Big House, the Shoe, Happy Valley, Boise State in their blue turf, Texas and DKR, South Bend, Indiana. Autzen Stadium up in Oregon. There's a billion, not a billion. There's about 20, but there's a lot of really great environments in college football. It's a game meant to be played on campuses. I wish this game was on campus at Boise State. Could you imagine this game, New Year's Eve? You crack your first beer, you're getting drunk, you're having a good time with the fellas and maybe with some ladies as well. And the blue turf and Ashton Genty, and it's at Boise State. Those kids at Boise State got robbed of getting to host a home playoff game. And I'm sick for them. I'm truly sick for them because I do think that one day these games will move to campuses. And it sucks for Boise State that they did not get to host this game. Let's get into the actual football game. Penn State 31, Boise State 14. Penn State jumped out on Boise State. You're going to find that a lot of teams were doing a lot of jumping out on a lot of teams in this quarterfinals round. Penn State jumps out 14-0 on Boise State. Take a shot downfield. Nobody can tackle Katron Allen. Drew Aller looks incredible, and it's like, all right, crack your second, crack your third beer. We're in for an ass whooping here, and there is simply not going to be much to watch, not much to enjoy. Crack your second, crack your third beer. That's what I did. And then all of a sudden, Boise State starts running the ball a little more effectively, starts coming back, and Penn State plays sloppy. And this game, in my eyes, was marked by sloppy, ugly play. A lot of sloppiness just in general. Penn State, I thought, abandoned the run game with Katron Allen, which you should not do because Boise State could not tackle the guy. And they wanted to show off the cute pass plays that they had practiced, I guess. It's definitely a thing that, like, hey, it's like sunk cost fallacy, right? Like, I went and practiced all this stuff. If I don't use it, then, what was the point of practicing it? It's like, hey, man, maybe you just pound the rock down their throat over and over again and they cannot tackle him. Just let him keep running. Would have liked to seen a little more of that from James Franklin. That being said, this Penn State team looks good. They look legit. Tyler Warren's incredible. Drew Aller's playing well. Katron Allen, I've said his name 10 times already. He's awesome. This Penn State team is serious. They really are. Have they beaten the two worst teams in the playoffs so far? Yeah, they had the easiest draw by far. They beat the two worst teams in the playoff, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Maybe you think that Boise's better than Clemson or maybe better than like Indiana or Arizona State, even maybe. I would argue differently, especially given what we saw in that Texas Arizona State game, which we will get to. Um, Penn State defensively loaded the box, 8 players in the box all game long. Said that guy number 2, Heisman candidate, and in my opinion, Heisman deserving winner, Ashton Jeanty. We're not letting him beat us. You're gonna have to beat us elsewhere. And Madsen, while he's a pretty good quarterback, is not the guy that's gonna go, with inferior weapons beat Penn State on his own. That's just not the way that game was ever going to go. Ashton Jeanty was getting bottled up, and rightfully so, because Penn State was investing everything defensively into stop number 2, and it worked. So credit to Penn State, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Boise State had plenty of opportunities. Penn State had plenty of opportunities. This game could have been closer. It could have been more of a blowout. It could have been a whole lot of things. But what it was 31-14. Penn State gets a good win. I really wish it was in Boise, Idaho. I really, really wish it was in Boise, Idaho. I just think all of these games the neutral site atmosphere is just, I'm sorry, it's just not that cool. There's only one that is that cool, and we're going to get to that one. It is the Rose Bowl. But first, we have to go to the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, where my Texas Longhorns did war with the Arizona State Sun Devils. So Texas Longhorns win the kickoff and defer. Quinn Ewers 2-0 on kickoff, or 2-0 on coin flips that day, by the way. Win the coin flip and defer. Arizona State takes the football, obviously, as they should. March down the field and kick a field goal with help of a running into the punter penalty, which the Texas player whose name I'm forgetting, I think he wears 37, maybe 38, is like tackling the punter before he kicks the ball, and somehow does not get the ball. Therefore, it's running into the punter. They get a first down, and then another like crucial, I think it was face mask on a sack call. Another first down. They kick a field goal, and it's like, oh boy, like where is the discipline? Where is any of it? This whole thing, it's a mess. The defense needs to be better, etc. And then 2 plays later, Quinn Ewers touchdown. And it's like, oh, okay, like all is well. Like we're gonna roll this team. It's fine. Then we get another stop, punt return touchdown. Silas Bolden, who I love. He's a psychopath. He's insane. He belongs in a psych ward, but he's incredible. It's just electric to watch him return punts. Wish we would get him more involved on offense, but he's electric to watch to return punts and kicks and everything that he does. He's simply insane. So 14-3. Texas is up in a big lead, and it's like, all right, like we got this thing. We're better. This is what we're going to do. And then, as we've done in recent games, Texas just does not step on the throat of inferior opponents. We just refuse to do it. I don't know if it's Quinn. I don't know if it's Sark in the play calling. When you have an inferior opponent dead, you must bury them. You have to bury them. And Texas just won't do it. Just allergic to it. You can look at Arkansas this year. You can look at A&M this year. You can look at Kentucky this year. When else? Not Florida. You can look at Arizona State this year. I mean, so many times we have an inferior opponent and we're just so much better. Just clearly so much better. And we will not bury them. And it drives me fucking bananas. Drives me bananas that we just will not bury inferior teams. Just won't do it. Where's the run game? Like this highly touted offensive line, all of these great players, Kelvin Banks, top tackle in the class. Where is the run game? It's Arizona State. Run the damn ball, right? Like, and we just can't get it to happen. I mean, there's a moment where there's what is it, 5-6 minutes left, and we're up 8 points. We've allowed a touchdown at this point. all we've got to do is run the ball, chew clock, do what we've done in moments in previous games, like the Arkansas game, like the Kentucky game, like the A&M game, where it's out of control and things are not going well, and we say, all right, Quintravion Wisner, 26, you're going to go bury this team. Offensive line, we're going to go bury this team. You're going to play, we're going to run the ball every single play for the next 15 plays. We're going to score a touchdown. We're going to walk this thing off and call it over. Instead, we take a shot on a deep post to Isaiah Bond, who's been out more than half the year at this point. He's been injured, he's banged up, and has had some questionable effort moments, frankly, in big moments, specifically in that Georgia game, another game that we were up and didn't bury a team. And now in this game, where it's like we throw the post, it gets intercepted. Arizona State walks right back down the field, scores another touchdown, forces overtime. Bert Auburn misses 2 kicks. I feel bad for the kid. I really do. It's difficult. It's a difficult moment, and we still won the game. So all's well that ends well, right? But you would like Bert Auburn to make one of the 2 field goals to win the game. Back to the Bond moment on the skinny post. Either the play call or the decision by Quinn Ewers there to throw that pass is absolutely unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. All you have to do is chew clock, go win the game. You're physically superior. You are the better team. And I don't know if it's the play call. I don't know if Quinn made a bad decision. I don't know what happened in that game or in that moment. It was clearly the wrong decision. It gave Arizona State an opening to win the game. And that was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Outside of that interception, so many people, I think even maybe myself included, said that all Quinn Ewers needs to do is not be the reason Texas loses. There's too much talent around. All that Quinn Ewers needs to do is go be a game manager, go operate the system, and Texas will be fine. That Texas would win in spite of Quinn Ewers and not because of him. Ewers was phenomenal in this game. And if you're going to knock Ewers when he's bad, if you're going to say this guy sucks, we want Arch, if you're going to say all those things against Georgia, we need a guy who's mobile, etc. How about Quinn Ewers putting his head down and running in for what should have been the game sealing touchdown? How about Quinn Ewers hitting to Matthew Golden in every big moment? How about Quinn Ewers recognizing in overtime, yo, there's a blitz, check to the post, check to this play to Gunnar Helm, 4th and 13, check to the Gunnar Helm play, first down. The touchdown in the first overtime on 4th and 13 to Matthew Golden, the subsequent next play, first play touchdown to Gunnar Helm. You got to give the guy credit when he plays as well as he played if you're going to knock him when he's as bad as he's been in the past. That being said, the Isaiah Bond post, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It's what were we doing? Was it play call? Was it Quinn decision? I don't know. So frustrating. You also cannot leave this game without giving Cam Skattebo his flowers. Cam Skattebo put Arizona State on his back, said, I'm the best football player on this field. And frankly, he might be the best football player in the country after watching that game. And said, we're doing this. We're doing this because I will that it will happen. Cam Skattebo was incredible in this game. Could not tackle the guy. Could not tackle him. And Texas has been phenomenal tackling all year. It's the first thing that jumped out at me when I started watching Texas this year, this football season, especially in that Michigan game, was, man, the tackling is incredible. These teams that pride themselves on wearing you down with their run game were just mauling them, just eating them up. The tackling was incredible. Not Cam Skattebo. He was running through Texas players in the box every single time whenever he wanted to. And how about that pass? How about that pass from Cam Skattebo on 4th and 2, taking a deep shot for a touchdown? Just incredible. The guy won MVP in the game. He deserved it. He was absolutely incredible. Targeting. Yes, it was targeting. There are 2 rules for targeting. There's 2 instances in which targeting can be called. First is at no point in any time in football are you allowed to lower your head, lead with the crown of your helmet. This is, if you're watching, well, obviously you're watching on YouTube. I don't upload anywhere else. If you lead with the crown, which is where my headset is here, of your helmet, that is targeting. Anytime that's targeting. Now, that's not what happened here with Michael Taft. It's not what happened on that play. However, there are times when we deem a player is defenseless. And this was a classic moment of a defenseless receiver. He's catching the ball, he's turning to make a play. He is defenseless in that moment. You cannot hit that player in the head or neck area. That's the rule. That's the letter of the law. So it has to be the crown. It's not intent. It's nothing like that. You cannot hit a defenseless player in the head or neck area, point blank, full stop. He should have been deemed defenseless at that point in time. It's a miss. Frankly, it's a miss. And I mean, I would be ripped up about it if I was an Arizona State fan. Could I then go and say that it cost us the game? You had your chance. You had plenty of chances, and um, while yes, it probably should have been called targeting, you still had plenty of chances to go and win the game. You still played overtime. It was it was a 0-0 ball game. You played in overtime too. You gave up a touchdown on the first play of second overtime. You gave up 4th and 13 touchdown. You had your opportunities. If you want to blame the targeting on the loss, I frankly think that's just not necessarily the case. You still would have had to made a 50-yard field goal. You've had extremely questionable field goal kicking all year. And, yes, it was targeting. I do feel a little bad about that. But, I also am really happy that my team won. So it's really tough to merge those two things. And it is what it is. I mean, it should have been called targeting. It wasn't. Refs miss calls all the time. It sucks that they go to review and still miss the call. But the better team did win this game. You know, the better team did win this game. Let's talk about another game in which the better team absolutely did win. I believe those were all my Texas notes. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Let me check. Yes. Yes. Those were all my Texas notes. No Arch in this game, which was surprising. And Ewers, really, you cannot give Ewers enough credit for how good he was in this game. He's the reason we won the game. He was great, truly great. And Matthew Golden also deserves his flowers. He was great. All right. Speaking of flowers, let's do it. Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl, the best venue in college football. First, the Rose Bowl should be where the national championship takes place. Everybody's talking about it. It's the new hot thing to say in media. Once Pat McAfee catches on, that, everybody knows at this point. So that's what we're talking about. And far be it for me to not push the national agenda. So let's do it. The national championship should take place at the Rose Bowl. That Vince Young moment from, those years ago, where, Vince Young runs for the Roses and it's this incredible thing. That is what college football could be. It's the most iconic venue in the sport. It's the most iconic venue, frankly, in the country. You really cannot beat the Rose Bowl. And the fact that it's lumped in with, and no disrespect, but the fact that it's lumped in with the Verbo Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona, and the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. And, I like the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, but none of those are the Rose Bowl. They don't have their own building. This has its own building. It's called the Rose Bowl. It's not the Cardinals Stadium or the Saints Stadium or the Falcons Stadium. It's the Rose Bowl. It is the venue for college football. It should be where the national championship takes place. However, it was incredible to see an old Pac-12 team, current Big Ten team in Oregon, and another Big Ten team in Ohio State play in the Rose Bowl. If you don't know, that's the way that it used to go. The best ranked non-national championship participating team from the Big Ten and Pac-12 would play in the Rose Bowl. That's how you end up with these classic matchups like Ohio State, Oregon, UCLA, Stanford, and then, Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, etc. Right? So that's the Rose Bowl. That's what it's meant to be. It should be the national championship. It should take place on January 1st. These games take too long to take place. We're going to get to all of that. We are going to get to all of that, all of my gripes. We're going to talk about them. Let's just talk football right now. And the only way to start talking about this Ohio State Oregon game is Jeremiah Smith. You cannot look any other direction in this game than Jeremiah Smith. He is absolutely incredible. He's a true freshman. He's 18 years old. Um, and Ryan Williams drew a lot of attention earlier in the year. He had that incredible moment against Georgia, the spinning crazy catch. This dude, Jeremiah Smith, is special. He is truly, truly special. Um, 7 catches, 187 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Just absolutely incredible. The running back room, Travion Henderson, Quinshawn Judkins, they are an absolute problem. The run game was going all day long. Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate. While we're not going to talk about them to the extent that we talk about Jeremiah Smith, those guys are problems too. Matter of fact, I think this is my opinion. I think that this is the most loaded offensive roster I have seen since 2019 LSU. They're absolutely loaded on offense. The only drawback is really quarterback and Will Howard, who is on, off and on in moments, but he's playing well as of late, man. Against Tennessee, against Oregon, this looks like the best team in the country. This looks like the best team in the country. And it looks like they're far and away the best team in the country. Um, they just jump out to a monster lead. It's 34-0. I mean, before you could blink, it's 34-0. Uh, and the Ducks, they fight back. They score to go into halftime. Then they score first possession coming out of halftime, and it's 34-15. And it's like, hey, like this Ducks team, like look out. Like we know what they can do on offense. Are they going to be able to get the stops? And the answer was actually yes, they were able to get the stops. They allowed 1 touchdown in the second half. They just didn't score to the amount that they needed to. Ohio State's defense was incredible in this game as well. Jack Sawyer is a problem. The batting balls all the time. Batting like every single pass felt like it was batted for Oregon. Dylan Gabriel being, I don't know, like 5'8", 5'10", doesn't help, but those guys were getting up there, batting balls down. They were also incredible. Caleb Downs is a guy who, means everything to this Ohio State defense. He's the only first-year player. He's a transfer. He's the only first-year player to this Ohio State defense. It's a group of guys who have played together for some time. They are truly incredible. This looks like the best team in the country, and Texas is in for I mean, Texas is going to have to play their absolute best game. The key for Ohio State has been aggression. It's been aggression. They let Michigan dictate how that game was going to be played. In fact, all year, they have played conservative. They have said, we are going to win by running the ball down your throat. We are a bully. We're Ohio State. That's what we're going to do. And it didn't really work that well against Nebraska. It didn't really work that well against Penn State. It did not work at all against Michigan. And, your weapons are just so good. Get them the ball in space. You have to get them the ball in space. We've been saying it here all year. Everybody who knows anything has been saying it all year. This was just an absolute complete game from Ohio State. They were aggressive. They got the ball to the backs, Henderson and Judkins in space. They got the ball to Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka in space. If they're doing that, this is one of the better college football teams I've ever seen. I mean, what they just did to Tennessee, who is good. Tennessee is good. And what they did to Oregon, who was the best team, had the best regular season in the sport. This team looks seriously, seriously real. Seriously real. I think one of the better teams, if not the best. I mean, I'm not willing to call them 2019 LSU or even 2020 Alabama, but they might be the third best college football team I've ever truly seen, like truly paid attention to. Like somebody, don't go in the comments telling me 2005 Texas or 2004 USC, Miami, like whatever. Like, dude, I was 3 years old. Like, don't come at me with that. But in terms of what I've gotten to see, 2000 Miami, in terms of what I've seen, this team is up there, seriously up there. And if they boat race Texas and they go boat race Notre Dame or Penn State, watch out, because we're going to be talking about this team we're going to be talking about this team at that level. I really am serious about that. Notre Dame 23, Georgia 10 in the All-State Sugar Bowl. First off, I mean, you can't start talking about this game without talking about the fact it was postponed due to a terrorist attack. Somebody driving a truck through Bourbon Street with explosives and apparently like an ISIS flag and like shooting and stuff. I mean, I'm not the news. Don't come here for the news. But obviously condemn it. Thoughts and prayers with the family. Truly just horrific, hellish stuff. Rotten hell forever, that guy. And, uh, condolences to the victims and their families and, etc. So it gets moved today. It gets moved to January 2nd, which is today. Or for me, it's today. For you, it's yesterday. Or maybe you're watching this 30 years from now. So it was on Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. First off, when I think of this Georgia team and I think of their successes against Texas, because that's the moments I paid the most attention to Georgia was when they were bullying my team. I thought of elite pass rush that got many sacks, stifled the Texas run game. I think of turnovers. I think of being able to take advantage of opportunities when those opportunities arose. Notre Dame did not allow Georgia to have any of that today. Georgia had one sack. They did get pressure on Riley Leonard a good bit, but he was able to get rid of it often. So they get a sack. Outside of that, Riley Leonard's legs were an absolute problem. We talked about the success of Jalen Milroe, the success of Haynes King against this Georgia defense, and how they have struggled to deal with running quarterbacks. Well, once again, a running quarterback gashes this Georgia defense. And it's the reason that Notre Dame was able to win this game. Now, this was a 6-3 ball game, like 30 seconds till halftime. And Georgia gets the ball back. They decide in 2 minutes they're going to be aggressive. They are going to go try to, at least get a field goal, tie this thing up 6-6. And, hey, you never know. We'll go play some ball and it'll be at least a close game. Instead, in the same vein as what happened to Carson Beck, as Gunnar Stockton is cocking to throw the ball, his elbow gets hit, ball comes out. Tuiamaka, I think is his name, Tuiamala, falls on it, and it's first down Notre Dame, touchdown on the next play. All of a sudden, it's 13-3, and the Irish are in control. Then we come out of halftime, first play, kick return, touchdown. Now it's 20-3, and the wheels have come off. And that's all it takes. All it takes. I mean, you saw it with Texas against Arizona State. You saw it with Notre Dame against Georgia. Those two games, the teams that won those games scored 14 points in under a minute of football time, right? And I mean, if you let that happen, it is so tough to come back from a swing like that. Now Notre Dame's up 20-3. Georgia does their best to come back, but it's just not enough. The left side of Georgia's offensive line got beat all game long. The left tackle got beat. The left guard got beat. 86 Bell had drops. Frankly, drops everywhere. It's been a problem all year for Georgia, but really, really showed its ugly teeth in this one. Just drops everywhere. Could not stop a running quarterback. What else do I have in my notes? Gunnar Stockton started the game quite accurately. Frankly, he played a pretty good quarterback game. It just wasn't enough to overcome the couple of mistakes that were made, both his fumble and the special teams gaffe. I really, really liked what Notre Dame did. They won this game with special teams. First, they do it with the return touchdown. Then it's 4th and 1. They're on their own end in the fourth quarter, and they have the punt team out there. They sprint out the offense. They do the switch, get the guy off sides, and take a go ball. Falls incomplete. Does not matter. Offsides, first down, chew more clock. Marcus Freeman did a great job in this game. And, we all wrote off Notre Dame after the Northern Illinois loss. A lot of people took Indiana to beat them outright. And And this was one that I had. I had both Notre Dame win and I had the under. So if you're a fan of the show, if you're tailing any bets, you owe me a beer. But other than that, there was not a lot of success in the run game outside of Riley Leonard for either team in this game. And it became whose quarterback is going to put the team on their back. And Riley Leonard did it. And on top of that, the special teams, the fumble, Georgia gave this game away. They truly did. You can't, if you tell Kirby Smart going into this game, there's going to be a kick return touchdown. There's going to be, right before halftime, you're going to fumble and give away another touchdown. He'd probably say, damn, like we are in trouble. And they were. They were in trouble. Anything else in my notes here? The drops were killer. Oh, dude, so bad. Notre Dame ran on a 4th and 2, a quarterback sneak out of shotgun. That means Riley Leonard needs to run 7 yards to gain that first down. It's not an easy ask. Please stop running these 4th and short plays out of shotgun. Get under center. If you want a QB sneak or you want a touch push, do it. But running some sort of like QB zone read from shotgun, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. Let me grab a quick sip of water and we are going to talk about the college football playoff in a macro sense here. All right, let's do it. So first, every single team with a bye lost. Isn't that interesting? Does it have anything to do with the fact that these teams have not played in forever? Let's look at when these teams last played. Saturday, December 7th, Oregon, Georgia, Arizona State. And then Friday, December 6th, Boise State. It is January 2nd. Today is January 2nd. These teams have not played a football game in a full calendar month. And you cannot tell me that does not affect the team. It's brutal. It's truly brutal. And people are going to talk rest versus rust. I am of the opinion that not playing a game for that long is a massive detriment for the teams that have those buys. It's a massive detriment for the teams that have the buys. You come out maybe a little rusty. Look at Arizona State, frankly. The Arizona State defense did not show up to that game prepared to play. They did not show up to the game prepared to play. They eventually got prepared to play. They eventually started making stops and, turned the game around and had some interceptions and some good moments. But, you come out in a 14-point hole. That's tough. That's really tough. And they hadn't played football in a month in a real football game. That's really tough. It's really, really difficult. So the playoff is too long. How do you fix it? Well, I've talked about this before on the show, but I'll talk about it again. First off, geez, I'm like sick here. Let me take one more water. Got a like poison in my throat here. Anyhow, first off, conference championships happen on December 6th. Playoff starts the next weekend. Playoff starts the next weekend. They're home games. And then the next weekend, they're home games. And then the next weekend, they're home games. And then January 1st, Rose Bowl championship. Done. Full stop. What does that do to the Army-Navy game? Well, instead of having it be standalone in this week, where it's not standalone, where it's getting squeezed by other games and by the NFL moving to Saturdays and all the things that happen. Week 0, Army-Navy, kick off the college football season, kick off the football season as a whole. All of the pageantry, the flyover, the cadets, all of it. Army-Navy, week 0. It's the only game on TV. There is nothing else on. Everybody will watch it. Everybody will love it. That's the fix. And then these bowl people can frankly fuck off for all I care. If you're not the Rose Bowl, I'm sorry. If your game is taking place at an NFL stadium, if you don't have your own building for your bowl game, I don't care. I don't care. The atmosphere for the Rose Bowl is incredible. It should be the national championship. Every other game should be a home game. hosted by the higher seed. Auto buys go away, and the higher seed, it's seeded based on the actual rankings of the team. So you're not screwing over a team like Oregon, who has to play off of a month of rest, has to play one of the best college football offenses and defenses, frankly, that I've ever laid eyes on. There's that fix. Um, so no auto buys, started immediately. Every game on campus, championship, Rose Bowl, January 1st. Done. Playoff fixed. You're welcome. You want to go to 14 teams? Fine. Fine. Do whatever you want. But as long as that means that the buys are going to the top two ranked teams, which will likely be the SEC and Big Ten champion, frankly, most of the years. So it's fine. And all that works, in my opinion. All of that works. Um, Okay, what else? Well, auto buys are bad. I've talked about how auto buys are bad already. The seeding doesn't make sense. Ohio State or not Ohio State, Oregon having to play Ohio State is truly brutal for them. It's a super tough draw. Also, the seeding, we've talked about the seeding. It was inflated by conference championship appearances. In previous years, 13-2 Penn State would not be ranked above, or they weren't 13-2, they were 11-2 at the time, would not be ranked above two-loss Ohio State if Ohio State had the head-to-head. But the fact that it's a 12-team playoff changed the way that people are willing to rank these teams, right? I mean, in years past, if you look at this, we'll go to the bracket now. If you looked at this bracket and you looked at these teams, right? At the end of the regular season, at the end of the conference championships and all that, you would have said, okay, Oregon is absolutely in. Georgia won the SEC championship. They're absolutely in. And then you would have been talking about Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and then maybe you would not be, but we could entertain that you maybe would be talking about Tennessee or Indiana. Maybe, and you wouldn't be, but we'll pretend that maybe you would. What do you do in a 14 playoff format? What would you have done, right? Well, the first thing you would have done is you would have said, okay, well, Ohio State and Penn State are both here. We cannot put Penn State in and not put Ohio State in, right? Because Ohio State had the head to head. So either both would have gone, and you probably would have brought along Texas, and that's your four teams, or you would have made room for a Notre Dame team who had a loss to NIU, the worst loss of any of them by far, but only one loss, and it would have been a total mess, a total issue. These four teams, Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, that would not be the four, right? That would not be the four. And that's interesting that this bracket provided us, a four teams that wouldn't have been the selection, right? But I don't know. It's interesting. In years past, this isn't how it would have gone. It really is incredible. And the 12-team playoff is a lot of fun. But the seeding clearly was wrong, right? Because Penn State at the 6 and Ohio State at the 8 doesn't make sense. And in years past, we would have fixed that because of the head-to-head. We would have cared, but we didn't care. And we didn't care because we knew both were going to make it anyway. So it's all fine. And all's well that ends well. They're both going to make it. Who really cares about being precise with this seeding thing, right? I bet Oregon fans wish we were a little more precise with the seeding. That's just my opinion. So we've got Ohio State, Texas. Ohio State opens as a 6-point favorite, and Penn State, Notre Dame, where Notre Dame will be a 1.5-point favorite. It's going to be awesome. The college football 12-team playoff has absolutely delivered. I really enjoyed the Sugar Bowl tonight. The Peach Bowl was incredible. The Rose Bowl was a blowout, but the atmosphere alone sells it. And Ohio State they just look like they're the best team in the country. And the Fiesta Bowl occurred, and it happened, and Penn State rolled Boise State. And that's the way it goes, If you want to give teams auto buys who don't necessarily deserve them, that's what you got, right? I think you got to get rid of the neutral site games in these rounds. You have to do it. The games need to happen immediately. These teams were clearly rusty. They were clearly rusty, and it truly is a disadvantage to not play football for a month. You cannot convince me otherwise. This is a really physical game. If you haven't tackled or been tackled in a month, that's difficult. It's really difficult. Look at how teams progress from September to October of a football season, and tell me that a lot of regression does not happen in taking all of December off. You can't convince me. Um, in the old playoff format, a team like Ohio State might have been eliminated with that loss to Michigan. It probably would have eliminated them. In my eyes, maybe they would have gotten in, but you probably would have ended up with something like Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Oregon, right? You probably would have ended up with Oregon, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas, or something to that effect. And yeah, one loss Notre Dame would have gotten in over two loss Penn State or two loss Ohio State, in my estimation. If I were guessing last year, that's how this would have gone. But the 12-team playoff gives a mulligan to these teams that are sleeping giants. A team like Notre Dame, maybe they would have gotten left out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Notre Dame, they just say the NIU loss, unacceptable. Maybe they get left out. Well, they just went and bullied Georgia. They just won a physical game against Georgia, which a team like Texas couldn't even do. You know, Penn State, we would have said, well, two losses, you're done. Nope, nope. I mean, sure, they've had a super easy road, but they've blown out two teams right away, right? A team like Ohio State might have been out with two losses, especially that ugly loss to Michigan. They might have been out. They look like the best team. They look like the best team by far. And Texas, in my estimation, probably would have been in. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm a Texas fan, but you do lose two times to Georgia. Maybe Texas would be out. And it's fun to see a team like Arizona State get a shot. It's fun to see Boise State get a shot. I wish those games were at home, but other than that, you really can't knock this 12-team playoff for not delivering on fun. I think it's been a blast, truly a great time. And these semifinal games, the championship, they're going to be great. The only way they're not going to be great is if Ohio State is just head and shoulders better than everyone, which they might be. They really might be. But these teams that might have been out in years past, they get a mulligan and they go take advantage of it, make the most of it, especially Ohio State, man. I really can't say enough about this Ohio State team. They look so, so real, and I'm so, so terrified. All right, that's the college football bowl games quarterfinal recap. Hope you enjoyed it, and let's go on to NFL. We've got an NFL week preview. It's week 18 of the NFL season. A lot of these games mean absolutely nothing, which just sucks. It really does suck. Um, just meaningless football, especially, you get off of watching a college football game like the one I just watched with Georgia and Notre Dame, and the guys just care so much, they care so much. And you go into week 18 of the NFL season, Saquon Barkley could set the season record for rushing he could set the single season rushing record this week against his former team. And the Eagles are like, nah, we're not going to play him. We don't want him to get hurt, which is right. Like they should. That's what they should do. But it's just unfortunate that there's so much meaningless football going on towards the end of the year. I really would like that changed. I talked in my previous episode about a fix to the draft system where as soon as your team gets eliminated, wins accumulate you draft pick points, right? And that way, the sooner you're eliminated, the sooner you can accumulate points. So it still does help worse teams because they'll be eliminated sooner. They'll have more chance to earn those points. But it means that every team wants to win every football game all the time during the year. It should help eliminate tanking, and that would be my fix. That would be my fix, and I hope that the NFL takes it. Let's go. It's going to be a big week. That being said, because there is some important game. Come on. There are some very important games in terms of playoffs. The first is the Ravens hosting the Browns. The Ravens have to win this game. They clinch the AFC North if they do, and they're a 17.5-point favorite. Can you believe that? That is so many points. And guess what? I like them to cover. I like them to cover a lot. I think they're just way, way better than this Cleveland team. Cincinnati is at Pittsburgh, and the Steelers, if the Ravens lose and the Steelers win the division. The Steelers are in the chase position. So all Baltimore needs is a win or a tie, and they've got the division. Pittsburgh needs both a win and a Baltimore loss. I like Cincinnati in the game outright, frankly. It's in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin is a home dog. We've talked about this many times. You typically don't want to pick against him. Um, but the Bengals need it. The Bengals need it, and Joe Burrow is playing like the best football player on the planet right now. Um, they're hotter. The Steelers are on a loss streak. This is the hotter team. This is the better offense, at least. The defense is definitely really bad for Cincinnati, but I do like them to go win this game in Pittsburgh. They have to do it. And with a 1.5 point spread, that's not enticing enough for me to take the points. But if you want to give the Carolina Panthers 8.5 in Atlanta, that's enticing enough for me to take the points. I like this Panthers team. They really are starting to play well. Bryce Young's starting to play well, and I like Michael Penix, but do you really think the Falcons are going to score 30? Like, do you think they're going to go score 30 on this Panthers team? I mean, they might win the game 23-17, but 8.5, it just feels like too much to me. Quick water. Washington's going to Dallas. I'm not sure that either of these teams really have anything to play for. I think Washington might need the game for some playoff seeding stuff, but they're in my estimation. So don't do any extra accounting for any of that. Just evaluate the teams that you see, and I like Washington by 4.5. I do, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure that in the past, Dallas um did they beat Washington the last time they played? Let's pop it out and figure it out. Uh, Yeah, they did. The Cowboys beat them pretty handedly, actually. They beat them by 8 points. Uh, that being said, the Cowboys have nothing to play for, and the Commanders, I think, at least benefit a little bit from seeding implications, and I think they're the better team. Give me Washington. Um, the Packers like to humiliate Chicago, and Chicago has been bad this year. They're a 9.5 point favorite, and it's in Green Bay. I like the Packers. They also need to get right after that Vikings game last week. They're going to want to go out and knock some heads around. I do like the Packers in this game. I like them by 10 plus. And yeah, the trend of just picking favorites continues. Houston should be resting all their starters. They have clinched the division, and Tennessee should be hoping to lose the game. It's a really weird spot, and I mean, picking games where one team is not trying and the other team is really bad. How do I evaluate something like that? I don't know. Houston's probably the better team, and I guess I'll take the extra point. Um, is the Houston backups better than Tennessee? Probably not, but I don't know. Tennessee needs to lose the game, so let's roll with the Texans. Uh, in that same vein, Jacksonville needs to lose this game to the Colts, and I do think the Colts are better. Uh, does anybody know at home? Is Anthony Richardson playing? Anthony Richardson. Let's see what we got. Misses practice with back injury, missed more practice time, reveals back spasm, forced him to crawl around. All right. We're going to say Anthony Richardson's not playing. You heard it here first. Um, and that just makes me like the Colts more, frankly. So give me the Colts by 5 plus. Should have no trouble with Jacksonville, who is probably going to be trying to lose the game. Give me the Colts. Uh, Buffalo, New England. I don't think the Bills have anything to play for. I wouldn't be surprised if they rest a whole bunch of people in this game. How do you evaluate a team that's not trying against a team that's bad? It's really hard to do. I'm going to take the team that's at least better and better coached, frankly. Give me the Bills. Um, Another one, we've got Tanner McKee and the Philadelphia Eagles with Kenneth Gainwell and maybe even no AJ Brown, maybe no Devonta Smith against the Giants, who have to lose the game, just have to lose the game. Um, and I don't know whether we will lose the game. I wouldn't be surprised if we go get another culture win and, talk about how great it is for the culture that we won this game. I'm going to be rooting against it. So let's go Philly as a 3 point favorite. Why not? Uh, Tampa, Tampa, this game matters. Okay, this game matters. So that's good. Let's go. Tampa versus New Orleans. It's in Tampa Bay. If Tampa wins it, they clinch the NFC South. Likewise, the Atlanta Falcons The Atlanta Falcons need to win and have the Bucks lose, which now I'm looking at my Carolina pick and I'm wondering, you know, but I like Carolina to hang around in that game. I'm not going to apologize for that. Tampa needs to beat New Orleans to secure the division. New Orleans is not very good. We saw what the Packers did to them a couple weeks ago, and this Tampa offense has been firing on all cylinders. Let's go with the Bucks, even as a 14-point favorite. I like them. Um, who I don't like is the Denver Broncos. This is mostly just a I would like some chaos pick. If the Broncos lose, there's room for Miami, there's room for Cincinnati. And then if both of those teams lose, then the Broncos would still go. Um, I do think Denver will win the game, but 10.5 does feel like a lot of points, even against the Kansas City backups. I mean, this defense, it's still Steve Spagnuolo out there. It's still Andy Reid out there. They're not going to roll over and die. Like they're going to make Denver earn this game. Even like it really does not matter who's out there in my estimation. 10.5 just feels like a lot. Uh, I like the Chargers over the Raiders. I think the Chargers could maybe the Chargers could lose out on the 6th seed if Denver wins and the Chargers lose. That might be the case. So I guess let's go with the Chargers, who should be trying over the Raiders. I hope they're trying at least. Seattle at Los Angeles was supposed to be for the division. It was going to be an electric fun game, and instead we were robbed of that because the Rams clinched via some like strength of schedule stuff. They needed a certain amount of teams to get wins, and a certain amount of teams did get wins. So the Rams clinched the division. This game went from extremely meaningful in division rivalry game for a playoff berth, and now it is just Seahawks at Rams backups. I don't know. Let's go with Seattle as the favorite. No. Yes. If Puka's not playing, if Cup's not playing, if Stafford's not playing, this Rams offense is not what it can be without those guys. And if they're going to sit those guys, which I would bet they would, given that Matt Stafford's ancient and Puka's been hurt and Cup's been hurt, let's go with the Seahawks. I expect that the Rams will not score very many points in that game. Miami must have this win over the Jets, and 1.5 points is frankly not enough. I would not at all, however, be surprised if the Jets go out there and win this game. If Aaron Rodgers just looks incredible in this game, I mean, it would be the most Jets thing ever for Aaron Rodgers to just go for like 400 yards. Garrett Wilson has 3 touchdowns, like just look incredible. It would be the most New York Jets thing in my lifetime. That being said, Miami has to have it, and the Jets don't have to have it. So I do like Miami to go and win the game. Um, Cardinals versus 49ers. Off of principle, I'm taking the Niners. I don't know who's playing, but I just think they're better. Um, it's one of those that it's the logo game, like I'm not picking the Cardinals over the 49ers. I don't care that they're 6-10. This Niners team is good. 4 points, it's just too many points. And the granddaddy of them all, this game is for the 1 seed, I believe. Let's go check it out. Let's go check it out. Make sure that I'm correct here. I'm pretty sure I am. Conference. Okay. Yes. Okay. So these teams are both 14-2. Winner of this game is the 1 seed. Loser is the 2 seed. It should be just absolutely electric. Detroit, Minnesota. It's in Detroit. Sunday Night Football on NBC. You're gonna hear Chris Collinsworth, Mike Tirico, and Collinsworth is going to be making his Patrick Mahomes comparisons. And I bet you he's going to be telling you how much he loves Jahmyr Gibbs and the Detroit Lions. I think that the Lions are better. I love the coaches in this game. It's a game of great rosters, questionable quarterbacks, and it should be a lot of fun and great coaching. I think Detroit is the better team. I worry about their ability to defend. Oh, wait. Yeah. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison against this banged up Detroit secondary. Are we going to do a last second switcheroo here and go to the Vikings? Are we going to go to the Vikings on the road in Detroit? They're also missing David Montgomery still, I believe the Lions are. I think he got a season ending injury. Um, we're gonna do the old switcheroo here. The old switcheroo. First one of the episode. I like the Vikings in this game. I don't think that Detroit is going to be able to defend this Vikings team. The pass rush has not been there since losing oh my goodness, name Aiden Hutchinson, the duh, the guy in the Pilates commercial with State Farm, and it's the pass rush has not been the same. The secondary is banged up and has not been good. This is Justin Jefferson. This is Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, Aaron Jones. I think the weapons for Minnesota are just too much. And while I know Detroit can score, I trust Brian Flores' defense more than I trust Detroit's. Defense wins championships. It's this time of the year. I like the Minnesota Vikings, and I bet I'm the only guy in the world picking them. I'm going to guess, and I can't see it yet. Maybe you can, but my Zoom bar is blocking it, so I can't see it yet. I'm going to guess that 70+% of bets are on Detroit in this game. 71. Yep. 71% of people are on Detroit. I love the Vikings. Give me the Minnesota Vikings. They win the game outright. They secure the 1 seed. Skull, baby, skull. And those are my picks. I'm not going to fill out the tiebreakers because I don't do that. It's a waste of my time and yours. It's going to be a fantastic start to the year, especially in terms of football. We've got two incredible semifinal games coming up. We've got the granddaddy of them all on Sunday Night Football. Yeah, you're going to have to slug through some boring football in the afternoon to get there. But man, oh man, is that Detroit Minnesota game going to be sweet. I got the Vikings. I think they're the better team. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, which I really hope you did because I took notes, I made an effort. I really think that this is one of the best products I have put forward as a host. If you like the episode, please like it, share it with a friend. Give me some feedback on my thumbnail. I haven't made it yet, but I'm about to. As soon as I hit stop, I'm gonna make the sickest thumbnail you've ever seen. It's gonna be artistic and incredible. And by that I mean it's gonna be a screenshot probably of like the Rose Bowl or something. So thanks so much for watching. Interact with the show in whatever way you feel comfortable. I really appreciate it so much. And we've got a mic coming. We've got thumbnails. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be incredible. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.